And another person I reckon should be higher in there is Amad Diallo. We cannot
100%, bro.
a little bit without talking about Amad Diallo and just how fantastic he's been in the last 3 months. Towards the end of last season and pre-season some of this season, I reckon him, Collier and Mount have been our 3 best players at pre-season because I watched all the games. And last night was his best performance. Yeah. He was playing like Saka, man. It was like he genuinely was, with just how quick, how just easy football seemed to him. His goal, I'm sure you guys have seen his goal. His goal was fantastic. Brilliant. Props to Amas for his cross as well. Amas's cross from the left was wicked. But now Amad's he's nailed down first choice right winger beginning of this season. It's almost come out of nowhere as well. In the way of it's taken 3.5 years to get to this point, and he's suddenly playing like he's already been playing 3.5 years worth of football at Man United.
Yeah, you know what it is for me about Amad is that when we bought him, it was optimism and enthusiasm because here's this young guy who's supposed to be really talented, but at the same time there was a little bit of confusion, like we need a right winger now. We paid 35 million for this kid who might not be ready. Then he goes to the loans, and you're still not necessarily seeing why we spent 35 million on this kid. Not necessarily yet. Sunderland, he was good, but it still wasn't there yet. But the thing is with Amad for me is that in the way that Garnacho and Rashford broke through, and it was like they are raw, they are fast, they're direct, they just run at players, and that's what made them so good when they were young, and that's why they burst onto the scene so young. Amad is different because Amad is a technician. He's a pure footballer. He wants to receive the ball, play, use combination plays, interchange positions. And when you're young and you're that type of player, your decision making needs to be on point because that is what your game is about. And when you're young, obviously that comes with a little bit of difficulty. Now that he's 22 years old, he's matured. He's grown into it, and now we're seeing that he's got like I said, he's technically fantastic. But along with that now, his understanding of the game is really good. He knows when to release it, when to dribble, when to pass it off, when to have a shot. And by the way, what a shot that he's got on him, which I never knew.
Wicked shot on him.
I didn't see that before. So he is a real huge prospect for us this season. And this is the season, I reckon, where we talk about Amad.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I've been saying it for a good 2 years now. I've been telling Flex for the longest, this is the one. He's the next up. He's a match winner. Naturally, he can win games on his own. He's good at scoring in big moments. He's got really good technique coming off from the right side of the pitch. And he can even play in the 10. Very creative player in the 10 position as well. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm just looking forward to him getting a consistency of games now. And hopefully holding down that right wing spot for his own and making it his own. Like he mentioned himself as well, got a really good combination with Højlund and in around the same age as Garnacho and Kobe. So we've got a good group of young players. I remember Dylan talking last week of just about goals being expected for our club this season and lots of goals happening. And I think he's going to be a big part of that.
I do reckon we're going to score a good amount of goals this season.
Yeah, I agree.
I just had that feeling. But I want to touch on the thing that you just said about am I playing number 10? There was a quote so he did a press conference on Tuesday.
By himself as well.
Yeah, by himself. Fair enough, When he was asked about his favourite position, what he said was, my first position was number 10. When I was in Atlanta, I was number 10, and after that they put me on right wing. But yeah, I can play number 10, I can play right winger, I can play left winger. So I can play anywhere along the forward line. And yeah, I'm ready to play in every single position in the forward line. I think that is so vital. So I think a thing that Ten Hag likes is complete flexibility in his front line. Because as much as Ten Hag has a specific way of playing, I think ideally he wants to cause chaos. He wants to cause chaos for the other position's back line. And when you have a player such as Amad Diallo, that can play anywhere, he can pop up on the right, he can pop up on the left, he can pop up in the middle, he can pop up front, he can pop up ever deeper behind the striker. Defenders won't know what to do with him, where to go with him. And if we have, Sancho has seemingly shown some sort of flexibility, I think this pre-season. He started kind of false 9 up front role. He's obviously more comfortable on the left, but he can play on the right wing. We know he can. When he was at Dortmund against PSG, he showed, he's still got that. He's still got it in him to play on the right. Rashford's always talked about the fact that he wants to play everywhere. Garnacho showed that right, left wing, he seems to just be that dog running with the ball no matter what wing he's on. I think Ten Hag now has, for the most part, the kind of attack that he wants. Even with Xerxes saying, he's not a pure out-and-out forward. He drops back a bit. He can play with the ball. Højlund seems to be decent on one of the wings. I can't remember, maybe the right-hand side. He's left-footed. But Højlund seems to be all right in the channels as well as playing up front. Yeah. Ten Hag seems to have the type of attack that he wants, and I think Amad's going to play a big part in that.
Yeah.
I think Amad, get ready, right? There is so much I can say about this kid. So much I can say. So I think when people think about possession football, they think about these wingers who are like really technical. They keep the ball, all of that, just like keep it ticking almost. Amad is so positive. He keeps the ball, but every single action, there's an idea behind it. There's an intention to move the ball forwards, to make something happen. He is such a smart player. I remember when he first came and we looked at tapes and stuff, he got compared to Mahrez a little bit, also because he's pretty comfortable on his right foot. Like, yeah, he's left foot, he's comfortable with his right. He got linked to Mahrez, and I really see it in his game. He's just such a smart footballer, such a positive footballer. Like, his touch is good, his weight of pass is good. Creatively, his brain's brilliant. He can strike the ball, but it's not just on the ball. He's good off it. His movement is like, he's one of our most intelligent forwards off the ball, I'd say. You know, his pressing, how he shifts the angle, how he covers players, how he, gets the ball with such intensity, by the way. He runs back, runs in the press. He is such a hard worker, but when we have the ball, he makes smart runs. He knows how to time his runs. He knows how to manipulate the offside trap, how to kind of ghost into different areas, how to, when to stand still. That's an important thing as well. Because when we talk about movement, some players just move, move, move. Sometimes the art of standing still is really key. He's just almost such a complete package in terms of what he brings. Like, okay, maybe he's not got the same blistering speed that Rashford and Garnacho have over distance. Maybe he's not got the kind of core strength against someone like Rashford has, but he just brings so much. He's such a clever, like, gifted footballer. And I think we also need to remember, in terms of taking the time, like, he was supposed to have the loan to Feyenoord, but he got injured, and that, I think it was Feyenoord anyway, and that got written off. Then he went to Rangers, and it just wasn't quite like the right fit there. Like, he scored on his debut, I'm pretty sure, but it just wasn't quite the right fit. Then he had that season at Sunderland under Tony Mowbray, and he really took responsibility. He was driving that playoff charge, and he really developed that season. And now at United, he came to the team, I think, later than everyone kind of wanted him to come to the team. We all wanted to see him earlier, but he just took charge. Like, I love when players take charge. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I always look. It says a lot about you as a player when you're able to take charge situations. Amad comes into the team and he's like, right, give me the ball, and he's going to get on the ball. He's going to combine with players. He's going to try and beat a man. He does not care who he's up against. He does not care who's on the ball. He's like, right, I'm going to make something happen, and he almost always does make something happen. And he's just such a joy to watch. Everything about him is just fantastic. He's just. I think. Sorry, I told you. There's so much I can say, bro. All right. I really think this season, I'm even gonna go. You know what? You love my bold take. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He's gonna be a Player of the Year candidate for us this year.
I'll take that.
Bold take time. I genuinely think this year he might be a Player of the Year candidate for us, because he just brings so much to this team. If he can stay fit, like, there's just so much, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Amad as well, he really helps us in breaking down low blocks, which is, we know, something that typically we've really struggled with. My only two concerns with Amad, and it's not necessarily about him. One is that I think there are going to be a lot of games this season up against sides who are going to come at us, where Ten Hag might go, actually, I want Garnacho, Rashford on either wing, because if a team comes at us and leaves space in behind, I want Garnacho and Rashford running in behind. Like, whether we like that or not, I think Ten Hag might go for that in terms of having the pace and power to just run in behind. So that's one concern with Amad. And the other is that, like, he is, like we just said, a player who is smart, who wants to work with players around him, little give and goes, movement, stuff like that. And I think that we lack a little bit of that in terms of who's going to be the players to link up with him and do it well. I think Xerxes can do it really well. I think Mount, to some degree, can do it really well. Bruno, of course, we know can. But I just think that, for example, if Bruno is operating on the left and it's Højlund up top and it's Rashford, I just think sometimes we struggle with those small spaces, interchanging and giving and going. That's the only part where I hope that doesn't ruin Amad's game.
To be fair, Rashford and Martial used to link up really well.
Yeah,
and
they did.
I think Højlund has a good technical base and that is improving in those kind of like gives and goes and stuff. So, and I think a player like Amad, he'll make it work. Like, if he knows that their strengths, Højlund and Rashford, are more in open spaces, making those runs, he'll try and find them, making those runs. But back to the Dill's point, actually, about him being able to operate in different areas, that's another thing that helps with the low blocks, because he's not just going to stay in one place for the blocks and say, right, you're going to be here all the time, I'm just going to chill here. No, he's going to go in and out, in and out, in and out, and they're going to have to change markers, all of that. He's going to get into little spaces, and he's going to keep the ball with those little gives and goes again. he's just going to take players out of the game and distort the block. And once one player's beaten, another player has to compensate. There's that indecision, like, right, do I now go at this player because he's clear threat, or do I leave him and actually give him space? It's stuff like that. It causes dilemmas, and this is what Ten Hag wants.
Yeah, he's our little mini Messi, isn't he?
He's better.
Oh, come off it. No,
It's all in
he's-
the youth, though, isn't it, man? The youth that we have right now.
It really
so
is. I
exciting.
do love it. And one more thing about Amad, which I saw last night, is a small moment, was Betis on the attack. Maguire lunged him for a challenge in the 6-yard box, didn't quite work. And then they passed the ball on like pretty much 8 yards from goal, right in the middle. Out of nowhere, Amad comes steaming in, takes the ball off him, attack done. He literally like ran all the way from the right wing, steamed all the way back, got there just in time, made a great tackle in the area from behind the man, got the ball, and it's just like another thing. And like he's shown it, like his kind of there's this tenacity as well to constantly get track back, constantly get forward. And when you're talking about the whole, maybe having Garnacho and Rashford on the wings. Amad's goal against Liverpool did show he does have he still has legs.
Yeah.
And I think he's just. What the beauty of it is, he's just another option, but he's such a good option. Like we have, like we finally have dynamic, different options in the team, in the attack, and it needs to be used this season.
I don't know if you remember me saying on the live stream we did a few weeks ago about the tactical flexibility that someone like Xerxes brings. I think a player like Amad offers you tactical flexibility. A player like Højlund, a player like Rashford. We've got a nice mix of players in that attack now, and that allows us to go with different approaches. And Ten Hag himself has said this in quotes that like, not every game is going to be the same. There's going to be different situations you have to encounter in football, and you need players who can thrive in different situations. But you need options to be able to adapt to situations.
Yeah, I honestly think overall, I'm touching wood here, but I think it looks good for this season. Throughout all the kind of there's the bumps in the road. There always are bumps in the road in pre-season with the injuries or the fact that like half our starting 11 still aren't training yet, because they're waiting to come back from international duty and all of that. I still, at the end of the day, I've got a good feeling.